My mother was a master manipulator. She had an uncanny ability to read people, to understand their deepest fears and desires. It was as if she could see right through you, peeling back the layers to expose your vulnerabilities. This talent, while impressive, was often used to her advantage, and I was her favorite subject. She always knew how to twist my emotions to make me feel small and insignificant. Her words were like daggers, sharp and precise, aimed directly at my heart. She had a way of making me question everything about myself, from my choices to my very worth as a person, how to make me doubt myself. Every time I looked in the mirror, I saw the reflection of someone who was never good enough, never strong enough. Her voice echoed in my mind, a constant reminder of my perceived failures. It was a relentless assault on my self-esteem, and I struggled to find a way out. She was a venomous snake, coiling around my throat, squeezing the life out of me. Her presence was suffocating, her influence inescapable. I felt trapped in her web, unable to break free from the toxic hold she had on me. It was a battle for my very soul, and I was losing. Yet a part of me craved her approval, her love. I longed for those rare moments of tenderness, the fleeting glimpses of affection that she occasionally bestowed upon me. They were like drops of water in a desert, sustaining me just enough to keep me coming back for more. It was a cruel cycle, one that I couldn't seem to break. A love I knew deep down she was incapable of giving. Her eyes were cold, her heart distant. She was a fortress, impenetrable and unyielding. No matter how hard I tried, I could never reach her, never make her see me for who I truly was. It was a painful realization, but one that I had to accept. I clutched the phone, her words echoing in my ears. The messages were always the same, filled with criticism and disdain. Each one was a blow to my already fragile psyche, a reminder of her disapproval. I read them over and over, hoping for a different outcome, but it never came. Disapproval dripped from every syllable. Her voice was a weapon, wielded with precision and intent. It cut through me, leaving wounds that never seemed to heal. I tried to shield myself, to build walls around my heart, but they were no match for her relentless assault. My decision to move into grandmother's manor, the manor she so desperately wanted to control, had ignited a firestorm. It was a bold move, one that she saw as a direct challenge to her authority. The manor was a symbol of independence, a place where I could finally be free from her influence. But she couldn't stand the thought of losing her grip on me. The fury in her voice was palpable, a physical force that slammed into me like a rogue wave. It was a torrent of anger and frustration, a desperate attempt to regain control. I could feel the weight of her expectations, the crushing pressure to conform to her will. But this time, I was determined to stand my ground. Why did her opinion matter so much? Why did I let her words affect me so deeply? These questions haunted me, keeping me awake at night. I knew that I needed to find my own path, to break free from her shadow. But the ties that bound us were strong, and the journey ahead was fraught with uncertainty. Why did I subject myself to her toxic barbs? Why did I allow her to have so much power over me? The answers were complex, rooted in a lifetime of manipulation and control. I had been conditioned to seek her approval, to measure my worth by her standards. It was a painful cycle, one that I was determined to break. I knew the answer, as much as I hated it. It was a deep-seated need for validation, a longing for the love that I had never truly received. It was a wound that had festered for years, one that I needed to heal, but healing required distance, and that was something I was finally ready to embrace. She was my mother, and a part of me, a wounded, fragile part, still yearned for her acceptance. But not this time. This time, I would not be swayed by her manipulations. I would not let her control my life any longer. It was time to take a stand, to reclaim my sense of self. This time, I would stand my ground. I would face her with strength and resolve, refusing to be broken by her words. It was a daunting task, but one that I was ready to undertake. I had spent too long living in fear, and it was time to break free. This time, I would reclaim my life. I would walk away from the past, leaving behind the pain and the heartache. The road ahead was uncertain, but it was mine to travel. With each step, I would build a future that was free from her influence, a future where I could finally be myself. "You can't be serious," her voice crackled through the receiver. "That house is a relic, a money pit. It's practically condemned." "It's my inheritance, Mother," I stated, my voice firm despite the tremor in my hand. "You'll be isolated, alone out there. Don't you realize how dangerous that is for a young woman?" she hissed, her tone laced with a familiar manipulation tactic: fear. "It's not about safety, Mother," I countered, my grip tightening on the phone. It's about reclaiming something that's rightfully mine, something you have no claim to. Silence. A silence thick with unspoken threats and simmering resentment. Then a sigh, heavy with dramatic exasperation. The manor loomed large in my memory, a Gothic monolith against the ever-changing skies. Its towering spires and darkened windows seemed to hold secrets of a bygone era, whispering tales of joy and sorrow, of life and death. The house had always felt alive to me, as if it had a soul of its own, watching over its inhabitants with a silent, knowing presence. I remembered the sprawling gardens, now overgrown and wild, where I ran free as a child under grandmother's watchful eye. Those gardens were my playground, a place of endless adventure and discovery. The wildflowers, once carefully tended, now grew in a riot of colors, a testament to the passage of time. I could almost hear the echoes of my laughter, the rustle of leaves underfoot, and the distant call of birds. The scent of her lavender perfume, mingled with the earthy aroma of her beloved roses, still lingered in my mind. It was a fragrance that spoke of love and care, of moments spent together in quiet companionship. Each bloom in the garden seemed to hold a memory, a fragment of the past that had shaped who I was. The lavender and roses were more than just flowers. They were symbols of a time when life was simpler and love was unconditional. Grandmother, the only person who ever made me feel truly loved, truly seen. Her gentle touch and kind words were a balm to my soul, a source of strength and comfort. She had a way of making everything seem right, even when the world was falling apart. Her wisdom and warmth were a guiding light, illuminating the darkest corners of my heart. In her presence, I felt safe, cherished, and understood. Her death had left a gaping hole in my life, a void my mother had quickly filled with her suffocating presence. The loss of grandmother was a wound that never truly healed, a pain that lingered just beneath the surface. My mother's attempts to control and dominate only deepened the sense of loss, turning the manor from a place of refuge into a prison. The shadows of the past loomed large, casting a pall over my every waking moment. The manor was more than just an inheritance. It was a link to my past, to a time before my mother's shadow had fallen over my life. Each room, each piece of furniture held a story, a memory of days gone by. The creaking floors and faded wallpaper were reminders of a life that once was, a life filled with love and laughter. The manor was a repository of my history, a place where the past and present intertwined. It was a sanctuary, a place where I could finally be free. Free from the burdens of the present, free to reconnect with the person I once was. The open fields and sunlit rooms offered a sense of peace and possibility, a chance to heal and rediscover myself. In the manor, I found not just a home but a haven, a place where the shadows of the past could be embraced and understood rather than feared. Section 4. Decaying Grandeur. Dust motes danced in the weak rays of sunlight filtering through grimy windows. Cobwebs draped the once grand chandeliers, and the air hung heavy with the scent of damp wood and decay. Years of neglect were evident in the peeling wallpaper and the threadbare carpets. Yet beneath the layers of grime and neglect, I saw the manor's potential. I saw the gleaming oak floors, the intricate carvings on the banisters, the soaring ceilings adorned with faded frescoes. I saw a home, not a prison. I rolled up my sleeves, my heart pounding with a mixture of trepidation and excitement. This was my chance to build something new, something that was mine. This was my chance to breathe again. Section 5. Whispers in the dark. The wind howled like a banshee that night, rattling the ancient window panes in their frames. It was as if the very air outside was alive, filled with a malevolent energy that sought to invade the sanctity of the old manor. The storm raged on, relentless, each gust of wind a reminder of the isolation and desolation that surrounded me. I lay awake in the darkness, my mind racing. Thoughts of the past, of the stories I had heard about this place, swirled in my head. They said the manor was haunted, that spirits of the past lingered within its walls. I had always dismissed such tales as mere superstition, but tonight, in the oppressive darkness, they seemed all too real. Every creak of the floorboards, every rustle of leaves against the glass, sent shivers down my spine. The house seemed to be alive, its old bones groaning and shifting in the night. Then I heard it, a sound so faint, it could have been mistaken for the wind, but it was different. It was deliberate, almost human. A soft whisper, coming from the shadows in the corner of the room. It was barely audible, like a breath against my ear, but it was there. My heart pounded in my chest, each beat echoing in the silence. I strained to hear to make out the words, but they were just out of reach, like a memory half forgotten. My breath caught in my throat, my heart pounding against my ribs. I felt a cold sweat break out on my forehead, my body frozen in fear. The whisper continued, a soft, insistent murmur that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. I wanted to move, to run, but I was paralyzed, trapped in my own fear. I strained my ears, listening for any sound that would betray the source of the whisper. Was it my imagination? Or was there truly something there, lurking in the shadows, watching me? The room seemed to close in around me, the darkness pressing down like a weight. I felt a presence, something unseen but undeniably there. Or was there something else here with me in the darkness? The question echoed in my mind, a relentless refrain that refused to be silenced. I scanned the room, my eyes darting from shadow to shadow, searching for any sign of movement. But there was nothing, only the oppressive darkness and the whisper that seemed to grow louder with each passing second. I fumbled for the bedside lamp, my hand trembling. The darkness seemed to resist, clinging to me like a shroud. My fingers finally found the switch, and with a desperate flick, I turned it on. The light burst forth, banishing the shadows and revealing the room in stark clarity. The sudden burst of light banished the shadows, revealing nothing but dust and cobwebs. The room was empty, just as it had been before, but the whisper was gone, replaced by the silence of the night. I let out a shaky breath, my body trembling with relief and lingering fear. I let out a shaky breath, chiding myself for letting my nerves get the better of me. But deep down, I knew it wasn't just my imagination. The whisper had been real, and it had come from somewhere within the room. I tried to calm myself, to rationalize what had happened, but the fear lingered, a shadow that refused to be dispelled. But deep down, a seed of doubt remained. What if the stories were true? What if the manor was haunted, and I had just experienced a glimpse of its dark past? The thought sent a chill down my spine, and I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being watched. I glanced around the room, my eyes searching for any sign of the whisper's source, a nagging feeling that I wasn't alone. The room seemed to hold its breath, the silence thick and oppressive. I knew I had to find out the truth, to uncover the secrets of the manor. But for now, all I could do was lie there, my mind racing, and wait for the dawn to break the spell of the night.